Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday with me, Ryan, aka Mac. This is a weekly show which covers everything from the world of Star Citizen over the past week. Links to everything discussed can be found in the description below, so let's get on with it. This week, 2.5 goes live, your Terrapin questions are answered, plus the Reliant and the Argo go on sale. So kicking off this week, probably the biggest news this week is that the patch 2.5 has now gone live. This means it's off the PTU and available to every backer to play. This brings new Grimhex Station, which has new clothing and shops to try out, plus cool EVA FPS area, and just a new cool location in itself. We have the flyable Reliant Core, the Argo Cargo, and the Transporter. New Landing 2.0 improvements as well, do give them a go. Item System 2.0 has begun its rollout, but this is more back-end at the moment. More will be coming soon. There's a new weapon on the streets, it's the M7A size 5 gun. Find it in your local Voyager Direct Store or Electronic Access. Kind of a beast. And finally, the biggest improvement for me personally is the new lighting, which brings lens flare and bloom. Although it needs a little fine tuning, there is a bit too much over bloom. It does look great, and it seems to help with optimizing as well. The FPS seems to be standard around 25 to 30. Not the best, but it's better than 5. So this week's episode was coming from Frankfurt. Perfect timing after the Gamescom special 3.0 demo that we saw, an amazing time. They started off by talking about the quest giver. Now this was Miles Eckhart, and basically they're integrating NPCs for the persistent universe. Mission givers are far more complex than your standard AI or your standard NPC, and Miles Eckhart was one of these people. Started off with motion capture. They took the footage of the actor and then they edited it all together. They got the facial and then the body put together to make it all work as one. They did a lighting pass and then exported it, handed it over to the level designer, and then they popped it into the actual game. They are changing the process of how the video will play in the engine. They're pushing to use picture-in-picture in the sort of live in-game engine. So when you see him using this mobiGlas, that is actually him using the mobiGlas in the world, which is then relaying that back to you. It's not just like a set thing. This is something which came up a while ago, and they were unsure of whether they could pull this off and achieve it. So hopefully picture-in-picture may lead to having the ability to have a live feed of your friend. Say like if you're in a ship, like a Redeemer, and you drop off 4 troops. Fingers crossed we'll be able to have images and video feeds from their helmet perhaps as they're walking around the derelict station. I could be wrong about this, but I'm hoping this is where it's leading to, because that would be so cool, having sort of life support and seeing what's happening with your friends, very much like the film Alien. Anyway, from there we had a look at the navigation mesh. This is how NPCs move around in a particular area. For example, we saw an NPC moving around a constellation, and then he'll play some animations. Say he'll go to like the control panel, then he'll move around even more, and it just keeps them so they know where they're going inside the ship. The mesh highlights the specific environment in which the characters can be in. We also saw it on the roof for repairing, so we'll listen more about that in RTV. So they just wanted to touch on the booth at Gamescom with all the live streaming, etc. They said it was great to see all the backers, all the old backers, plus a lot of new people. The queue was up to 3 hours wait time, which is excellent because it shows there's so much hype for the game. We're getting the word out for the game. People are starting to join on, and they're liking what they see. Again, the amazing 4 streamers that went out there, Bad News Baron, Captain Richard, Twerk17 and DJ Knight, they did a great job of showing the game off. Plus all the crew and the volunteers that helped make it work. It was just an excellent time, they say, and they're very pleased with how it went. We also saw a snippet of the press booth, which is where Chris Roberts was, giving the press sort of an up-close and personal attention, showing off what we have so far, showing the procedural planets along with everything else. I'm sure they were just as hyped as the fans were. But then over to Tyler Witkin for a community update. The Terrapin sales continue. I will touch more on the sales because there's a lot to understand when it comes to the sales of ships. There's a few of them going on at the moment, so do stay tuned. Also, Jump Point is available where we get to see how Grimhex was put together. This you need to be a subscriber to the RSI website to access. Most valuable post went to Alfored, Brett W and Jed for the Crux Cup. Now this is a racing tournament hosted by the community, which is loaded with prizes, all different ships that you can win, and they're categorizing it very much like you see in Gran Turismo. So you've got the Aurora Cup, I think the 300 series and the M50 series. I am going to take part in the Aurora Cup. I'm getting some practice in, although I am absolutely terrible, but I think it will be fun to live stream and fun to just sort of engage in this community-driven race, really. So the link is in the description should you want to take part in it. I highly suggest giving it a go, get some practice in. This is how involving not only Star Citizen is going to be, but the community will be in creating the world of Star Citizen. Very, very cool. Anyway, that was Around the Verse. Let's move on to RTV. So, as usual now in Reverse the Verse, we touch up on what was seen in Around the Verse. To start with, they talked about the performance capture of Miles Eckhart. We met Jason Cole, who is the lead cinematics animator, and he's mainly been getting the new tools in to make it possible and efficient. They are still being integrated, but the base is now in and working, hence we got Miles Eckhart. They only had about 3 weeks to get everything together for Miles, but they did have to revert back to the old NPC heads as the facial pipeline has not been finished. It would usually take around 2 weeks, but that is being generous. They say they give themselves a couple of weeks. It could always just take a week. So again, these pipelines make things so much quicker. Plus, what we saw with Miles is not the final product at all. They're going to look even better than that. Something to touch up on was that Miles' eye movement was acting, but it will look better than what we saw because they didn't have enough time to get it properly done. They are using Look IK, which will basically allow them to look directly at you. But he was intentionally being sketchy. His eyes wasn't going all over the place to sort of, because he was a bad actor or anything. It was because he was acting sketchy, and that's just the way it was. So we had a couple of questions for Jason. First one being, will all quest givers be voiced? And he says he's unsure, but there will be more quest givers coming to 3.0 with more dialogue. The more the face and the voice pipeline comes together, the more we will get. They are scheduling a shoot soon to add more characters like Miles to 3.0. He will not be the only character. And then the final question for Jason was, will quest content be procedural or randomly chosen, or will each Miles character be scripted and given the same missions? And he says, unfortunately, he has no idea. It's not his department, but he expects they would probably stack quests, say like 50 quests stacked, and then they'll roll them off. And it may be based on your level. Again, completely unsure. So from there, we met with Francesco Riccucci, who is the lead AI programmer, and he's talking about the navigational mesh that we saw. Quite technical. I hope I understood it properly. But it's basically to enable NPCs to navigate from different parts of the universe, not just inside the ship. So we just saw it inside the constellation on a landing pad. It will go for everywhere. Subsumption, which we often hear about, is basically a collection of systems. And overall, the systems which connect the AI to the game code. So you'll have maybe behaviors like activities, jobs, cleaning, like a guy cleaning your ship. Then the mission system will be setting tasks. Priority system will make sure that they do the job that is most likely and most sensibly needed first, so on and so forth. There's a big collection of systems that just help the AI and the NPCs look realistic and smooth. So the first question for him was, the nav mesh was also on top of the ship. Will NPCs eventually be able to climb on top of the ship for repairs, etc.? And he says, yes, this is exactly what it was for. The AI should be able to move wherever the player can as well. So when repairing, EVAing, or even boarding, etc., he needs to be able to get on top of a ship. Next question, will AI evade landing craft? And he says the AI will need to request landing pads just like players do. And if something is on the pad or someone is on the pad, then they will not be able to get permission. But in my personal opinion, I'm sure that they will have some way of giving the attention to the AI to get off the landing pad if you're wanting to land, so the AI can't troll you. How many NPCs will be inside this particular station? And he said it's going to be as much as makes sense. Fitting 200 into a small area would just not make any sense, even if they could achieve it. Currently, he says there's about 30 to 40 AI which they can fit in a small landing station or whatever, which is the limit right now, but that's without any network optimization or even just optimizing it itself, so that will definitely exceed. Fourth question, how do the nav meshes work in 0G? Now, this was a little confusing. He did say that mag boots would obviously be the same as just having your normal nav mesh. 0G would use pathfinders. If there's no gravity, they would then just navigate their environment in the 0G. He says it's very complex and challenging, but I'm sure they can pull it off. Second to last question for him, can AI interact with more than one player? And he said yes, the AI can perceive more than one player, but things like proximity will play a part in prioritizing the AI's attention. Final question, how will AI react to sudden changes in the environment, like sudden loss of pressure, for example? And he explains that the AI will have specific reactions. It's not just a light which goes on in their head and then suddenly they're off to doing the thing that they need to do. It'll be more based on, again, the highest priority. So each character will be different in their reactions based on their behaviours and their abilities, again, their rank. If they are pretty crap and cheap to hire, then they may get the priorities wrong. But if they are a decent sort of AI that you've trained up, then yes, they'll have more, they'll understand it more. Each AI will be unique. Some may fight, others may just take flight based on the situation. Anyway, to finish off with, they say that AI is one of the most important aspects to Star Citizen, which is why they are taking their time over it. They're getting subsumption, they're getting all the base systems in, like they do with everything else in development for Star Citizen. They get the base in first, then it's just easier to roll out high-level or high-quality mechanics. Anyway, that was Reverse the Verse. Let me know your thoughts, guys. So, with Gamescom After Party, they released the Terrapin concept sale. Now this is to be $195 or about $234 if you are in the EU. I'm not sure what that is in pounds. But basically with that you get the ship, the Takietsu model, LTI, so lifetime insurance, your hangar poster and an AeroView hangar. This is available till the 29th of August. I will get on to more about the sales that's going on at the moment, so do keep that in mind to just stay tuned. Basically, the Terrapin is a tough nut to crack. The Anvil Aerospace U4A3 Terrapin class is for scanning and exploration. It's developed near the end of the 28th century, serving as the first ship in the Empire's defensive reconstruction of the Navy. The watchword is protection. It's got extensive shield systems and armour layers to provide maximum defence. It lacks manoeuvrability but maintains an advanced, hard-hitting array of weapons. It's seen extensive service with the Navy for over 150 years. It's used as everything from an APC, so an armoured personnel carrier, to long-range explorer, often serving as a combat search and rescue ship with precise combat pickups under heavy fire. Now, surplus U4A3 hulls, so Terrapin hulls, are often available on the open market and is now a favoured explorer ship as well. It is reliable and easy to repair. It's got a rep as a ship that can travel beyond the most distant jump points. So its roles and systems, it's got a crew of 2, a pilot and scanner operator, which can be easily filled by just one person. If you just own a Terrapin on your own, you can do both, just not as efficiently. It's got a size 4 utility mount on top, which is a dish-type scanner, which is used for exploratory scanning and search and rescue tracking. Also, it could be a spaceborne warning system. It's got an enhanced power plant to allow as much armour and shielding as possible. 3 layer-thick armour sheets protect the top and the bottom of the hull with additional thick exterior bulkheads to each side. It's not only known for discovering new worlds and rescuing soldiers under fire, it's a good fighting ship. It's got extensive armour and a size 5 remote turret mount on the nose, and it's got the rep as a flying tank. Now, I think that may have changed as we'll be doing the Q&A coming up later, so just keep that in mind when we start talking about the Q&A for this ship. It's got additional size 2 laser cannons, also fully configurable, not usually using expendable weapons like ballistics or missiles due to its self-sufficiency for long periods of time, so stick to energy weapons really. Now, they brought out a vintage UE test pilot manual. That's available on the website if you want to take a look. This was created during the initial naval review period, and it provides extensive details on both the ship's capabilities and different missions it needs to perform. In the game, they say it's the first bespoke explorer ship, much like what the Prospector was for mining. It's a starting point for anyone focused on, or an exploration career, For people more interested in staying alive to reach the new worlds rather than dogfighting, this ship is for you. So it's 20 metres in length, 30,000 kilograms and a 2-person. It's got 2 TR3 primary thrusters, 2 TR3 primary engines, 8 TR1 manoeuvring thrusters, 1 size 2 power plant, 1 size 5 unmanned turret, and 1 size 2 shield. As I say, there are 2 Q&A posts coming soon, so do hang on. Very, very cool ship. Let me know what you think. Have you picked one up, or are you thinking of it? So, for the first Q&A post for the Terrapin, first question being, is it modular and can the centre seat be removed for cargo, etc.? And you say, no, the scanning station is directly plugged into the upper and lower utility mounts and is basically the operational heart. Its role is firmly in data gathering. Second question, what type of signature will it give off? You say the medium-sized components have the potential to create large signatures for this small ship. Being heavily armoured, it won't have the capacity to vent its heat efficiently, but the retracting armour will allow panels to lift apart, weakening the ship, but improving its ventilation, and they say it allows players to come up for air. So third question, does it have an ejection seat or escape pod for the crew? And they say no, everyone will need to escape through the side door. There are no soft spots in the hull for the ejection seats to blast through. How does it compare to the Freelancer Dur? And they say the Terrapin is as tough as boots. It's designed to be able to handle any eventuality in unknown space. It's extremely usable as a recon ship and able to survey fleet movements and sustain a lot of direct fire if discovered, but also great at inserting or rescuing people from combat zones. Now we'll get more onto the difference between that and the Freelancer later on. What is the travel range for the Terrapin? They say it's very long. It packs a much bigger hydrogen and quantum fuel tanks to increase its operational range. It's designed to stay out for as long as possible. Can it carry any cargo, and if so, how much? They say no, there is no official cargo capacity, but players can put cargo where they choose, allowing salvage to be dropped in the rear. And if they can find space, then that loose cargo will not be safe compared to being in a dedicated cargo hold, but transporting loose cargo is done so at the pilot's own risk. So I think if you get hit and you have not clamped your cargo down on specific grav points, then it could be potential projectile when flying around in your ship and taking hits and so forth. So, next question, how maneuverable is it going to be in space and in atmosphere? And they say it's solid, heavy, and somewhat slow to accelerate. Turning takes time in both space and atmosphere. In combat, pilots are encouraged to focus more on escaping techniques, relying on the ship's defensive capabilities rather than trying to outmaneuver. Ultimately, they say the advanced threat detection and avoidance is the preferred strategy. They did say, though, in storms and bad flying conditions planetside where maneuverability is needed to break from orbit, players may wish to just lock down the ship and ride it out, which I think sounds incredible. So, second to last question, can it dock with other ships or stations? And you say no, there are no docking rings. Players wanting to dock will need to land and travel on foot through the boarding ramps. That's kind of new. And the final question, does it have a bed? You say yes. For long-range missions, you could potentially be spending days, if not weeks or months, out of port. And you can actually see the bed in the far corner of the cutaway that we saw. So that was the first post Q&A. Very, very cool. Some new things there that we haven't heard about before. Let's get on to the second post and give us more of an understanding about the Terrapin. So, following on from Q&A post part 1, what will the gameplay be like with the Terrapin? Now, they say it's designed mainly for UEE Overwatch, long endurance picket, recon for the fleet, and providing a patrol presence to border systems which could not have a capital or large fighters allocated. For civilians, it's more of an exploration, so gathering and selling information as a private operation, sort of points of interest data, risky deep scans of hostile environments, and basically surveying data for a living. It has long-range endurance, advanced sensor suite, and range play to this aspect of exploration. Compared to the Freelancer Der, the Freelancer's focus is more on collecting trinkets, incidental salvage, and other physical items to supplement exploration runs. Now, although the Terrapin is purpose-built for recon, overwatch, and picket duty, it can still be used as troop transport and search and rescue. So the mounts are used for sensors and scanning primarily. They're looking to adapt them for command, control, and communications equipment, maybe to oversee the direct group of fighters during combat. The signature, although large, is only relative to what systems you have running. So if you power down the shields and dial back your power plant, then your signature will be a lot less. This is common practice when a Terrapin is in listening mode rather than fighting. But also, this is just part of the stealth and signature gameplay in general. So you can power down your systems if you are just listening in, or whatever you're doing. If you see a fleet of Vandal coming, switch everything to black silent mode, and then hopefully they'll pass you without detecting. They say that it's more likely that the Terrapin will be able to spot a small signature fighter further away than an actively hunting fighter can detect a Terrapin. Obviously, it's heavily armoured. It will be very resilient if someone gets the drop on you. But obviously, if you've got your shields down, then you're still heavily armoured and able to power the shields up again without taking too much damage. So what was meant by the Terrapin is better off running from battle rather than fighting. Now, they say it's an intelligence ship. The idea is to see the enemy before they see you, and then use your position or environmental hazards or features to keep them from seeing you. If you learn the signature and shadow game well, you should find that slower acceleration is not a problem. In dogfighting, the Terrapin is not equal to a fighter in direct combat situations. You wouldn't want to take a fighter on at their own game. The Terrapin is there to detect enemies, work out their intended path, and then call in reinforcements. So next question, what does high grade mean when it's regarding the shields? Now, the shields for the Terrapin are oversized. It's a small ship but carries a much larger class of shield generator, like for a Freelancer or a Constellation, hence the greatest signature and power requirements. So you don't intend to really be caught while in the Terrapin, but the armour will give you much more of a chance to get out of there if you are. What can we expect in terms of loadout and weaponry? Now, they say the only definitive weapon is the chin turret, capable of 2 size 2 guns. With the bigger power plant, small guns can be more hard-hitting than they appear due to the amount of juice available. So can you elaborate on the different exploration mechanics it will excel at? Now, they say it's more concerned with finding, cataloguing and reporting critical information and discovering points of interest, so it's ideal for exploring and data processing larger volumes of space more efficiently due to its dedicated scanning capabilities. Next question, explorer ships are expected to bring back samples. Why can't the Terrapin? And they say you can place things in its limited cargo space like we've said, but it's more focused on data collection, so maybe selling a mining spot on a virgin world or finding the location of the most wanted pirate lords will be the payday that you will chase compared to the role of the Freelancer Der, which is more for collecting items and bringing back. Can it go in silent mode when scanning? And yes is the answer. Why is there only 1 bed for a ship with a crew of 2? They say the UEE would have expected at least 1 crewmate to be awake on duty at all times, hence the single bed. And the final question, what type of data can it gather? Now, this will include things like points of interest, reconnaissance, enemy positional information, and whatever resources are needed. So that's the final post for the Terrapin. Very, very cool ship. Let me know your thoughts. So as mentioned before, currently there are a lot of ships available to purchase. So a post what I thought was really needed to help you understand what is newly available, when they finish, and basically what the crack is. Since the game's come after party, the Terrapin went on sale, as we know. Not only that, but we had like a special Explorer sale in which you can pick up either an Ursa Rover, which I have done a video on earlier if you want to check that out, the Freelancer Der, the Constellation Aquila, the Carrack, the 315p, and the Dragonfly. These are all purchasable as individual items, but also there are various packs available. First of all, the Exploration Mega Pack, which all comes with LTI, is £700, and you get the Terrapin, the Freelancer, the Aquila, the Carrack, the 315, and the Dragonfly Black. The UEE Explorer Pack, again LTI, this is £386. You get the Terrapin, the Carrack, and the Dragonfly Black. The Explorer Starter Pack for £152. You get the Freelancer Der, the 315p, and the Dragonfly. And finally, the Ground Vehicle Pack is £42, and you get the Ursa Rover and the Grey Cat. Now this ends tomorrow, which is the 29th of August, on the Monday. In conjunction, there is another sale now due to the release of 2.5. We have the Reliant Core at £50, and then there's an Argo sale. You've got the Personnel Argo, which is £31, and the Argo Cargo, which is £27, or you can pick them both up for £54. These will be available till the 5th of September. So if you wanted any of the exploration ships, you've got till tomorrow basically to get them, and the Argo and the Reliance you have till the 5th of September. So also this week we had a new Congress Now post titled Sensible Synth World Amendment. I'm yet to read that, but I can understand what it probably refers to. There's also a work in progress post bringing us the development of the Dragonfly. Bug Smashers episode 31 is available. Again, the links are in the description, and Squadron 42 hoodies are now available. Do check the description for all the links to these posts. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you for watching, and thank you to our subscribers, plus a massive thank you to our patrons as you make this possible. If you like what we do and want to help us make it better, follow the link in the description to our Patreon page to learn more. Anything go wrong without having to actually exit the ship too much. There's also a locker plus some other storage. I'm assuming this is for your crew on board or your driver. Thank you, Noobify. Everyone say goodbye to Noobify. Give him some 07s because that guy is a legend. Thank you so much.